Then after he came and got you, because we kind of skipped over, he comes to rescue you, took you to buy
From
your
the
CDs.
Samoans. Yeah.
He took you to buy the CDs. So what happened once he took you to buy the Nas CD and all of that?
I came back. I got back into the mix, you know what I'm saying? And my dad actually like funded my career. Like he put me in the studio, you know what I'm saying? Like, and this back in the days where niggas don't even relate to this shit. Like I used to have to get the beats and write the songs before I get to the studio. Because the studio time was so limited that you just gotta go dump, and have the songs ready to get your shit. So from there, I ended up doing that, and I ended up circling back on my relationships from Eve and all this other shit. And then Troy Carter and Jay Irvin started, you know what I'm saying, having some influence on my career. And I actually moved to Philadelphia just to be around them or whatever. And I lived in North Philly and all that other stuff. And from there, I moved to LA because Troy and them, they did like a partnership with Matthew Knowles at the time or whatever. They called it, they started some shit called Sanctuary Music. And that brought me to LA, and they put me up. And my weed man was my weed man. And I ended up, in the midst of that time, I ain't gonna lie, like, I really got back in the streets at that time because my weed man was in LA, and like, I was like getting pounds of like mid, like some Reggie shit, and was selling it in Chicago for me. Like he was shipping me pounds. And like during that time, I was Shauna's hype man. Now Shauna, when I first was growing up and I fell in love with hip hop, and she was with Infamous Syndicate signing Relativity Records.
The other girl, yeah, she was running with the other girl.
With her and Tifa. So that's how I fell in love with it, through them right there. But now she's evolved and she's Ludacris artist and she got Getting Some Head. So I was Shauna hype man. Like y'all can go Google and YouTube like Shauna Getting Some Head performance. I'm the nigga with a bottle in his hand, like performing with red monkey jeans on, saying all our hype man lyrics. And from there, she was managed by Hustle, John Monopoly, and John Monopoly had an intern or a little brother who was Billy J that I met from being her hype man. And me and Billy hit it off immediately because we like the same age. He was under, you know what I'm saying? Like we was both the young boys or whatever. So, and Billy had super ambition. He was super ambitious, and like I was like, yo, I got these records. I'm really an artist, this, that, and the third or whatever. And I stole my weed man credit card, and I was living with him. I stole his credit card, and I booked Billy a flight to LA. And I was like, yo, like, shit, like, let's take some meetings. Because Billy was like, yo, I can get us in some meetings, da, da, da. And he ended up hitting Epic Records. And around that time, like, I made the song Sexy Lady at my weed man house. Like, this is like, back in the day, like, I ain't had no engineer. Like, I'll go press 3 and run in the booth and, you know, run back out, press it again, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I recorded myself and did the whole shit and wrote the hook with my childhood friend, Rob Holiday, and Junior, the guy that was on the record. And Billy actually made a call to Epic Records. Well, I'm kind of fast forwarding that. This song, Sexy Lady, man, we was in LA, and like it used to be a club called Privilege. My weed man was a club promoter. It was one of the hottest clubs. Like I used to go in a club with a chinchilla on, nigga, like trying to vibe out, nigga. I was really tripping out or whatever, but like they loved the song Sexy Lady. The song started building up in this one club because of DJ Echo from Power 106 at the time was always the resident club. He was spinning, he fucked with me. So from there, DJ Echo took me to Power 106. I went and told my life story in a mixer meeting and cried and did the whole shit and played the record. And next thing I know, man, like, by the time me and Billy really got it rocking, my song was like #1 on Power 106. And like it was #1, the #1 song in LA. We ain't have no deal. I wasn't from LA. So that's not a traditional story. You know what I'm saying? Because you think the nigga that got the #1 song from the city, the big city, he's from LA. Nigga, I was a nigga from Chicago. And my song just took over. And Billy ended up ushering me into my deal, our first label deal with Epic Records. And that's how I got on as Young Bird.
Wow.
Wait,
hold on. What did your weed man do when he found out you stole his credit card?
He hated it, but he was also my manager. He was partners with Billy at the time. He ended up hitting it off with Billy, and they ended up being, you know what I'm saying, coming together and being, so it all, whatever. It was a $300 flight to get a label deal.
So that was around the time when me and you met, right?
Yep.
So you was still writing records, because you wasn't just writing rap records. You was writing all types of records. I don't think that people know that. When did you start doing that, though?
I think it first started off, y'all remember Barbershop 2 or whatever? Like, remember when Keisha Cole and Eve and like they had like a big soundtrack or whatever? I ended up writing records on that Barbershop soundtrack because Troy and Jay affiliation with Eve, and you know Eve was the biggest thing, and she was on Interscope, and the soundtrack came out through Interscope as well. So I was granted a lot of opportunity to be involved with shit like that. And then this girl named Morgan Smith that Eve had signed, I wrote her whole album. She was signed to Interscope. They ended up eventually dropping her. It didn't work out. But during that path, I ended up writing Evolution, the hook. Like Eve's last album, I wrote the hook to Evolution, and like my vocals are still on the track or whatever. And that was like my first writing credit. I think that was like in 2002. You know what I'm saying? So from there, like I was just like, yo, I really can do this. And I was really just trying to sneak in the game or whatever, but that kind of spawned my songwriting and producing career like in 2002.
Cause you was even singing on shit back then. You was singing the songs out and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Like
shit.
I was the demo nigga.
Yeah, he
like,
was singing.
I was the one that was singing the demo. Like right now, like I got a bunch of killers around me that, you know what I'm saying, that I work with or whatever, and they do the demos, but like I was literally the nigga that was singing the demo and doing all the other shit, you know what I'm saying? This is early, like this is pre-auto-tune damn near.
We was shocked as shit when you was coming there doing all that shit.
What was the driving force? What were you saying to yourself every day that made you just keep pushing in that same direction?
I had to prove my parents wrong. They never believed in it, you know. And then once my father started giving me the energy and like,
that was like a super boost.
Yeah. So I had something to prove because you know I dropped out of high school. I did all this other shit. Like I took the crazy route to get to wherever. So my driving force was like, man, I don't have nothing else. I literally, like, that's why it's so crazy for me to be, and I'm like, I really had nothing else but music. Like, and I just refused to be the nigga that went and ran a family business. Even though that's fire, like if you got a family business, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't advise nobody else to go against that, you know what I'm saying? But I just refuse to go do it.
It's an easy alternative. If your parents have a business set up, most parents dream about being able to leave their kids.
His frontal lobe wasn't developed, bro.
Yeah. I'm dreaming about that right now, like on some G shit.
Wasn't developed, my
about
man.
leaving something for you.
I just sold my catalog, so my kids ain't gonna have to work, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
awesome.
Can you imagine
the kids you don't got?
Can you imagine if they take your route?
Man, I couldn't even judge them. I know what it took for me to get here.
But you wouldn't want to stop them.
I would do everything in my power too. But if try and put them on game, I think that the communication barrier back then for me growing up, you couldn't have real conversations candid with your kids like that. Now you can grow up and you can say, yo, for me, I have a reference point. Like my whole life is documented on YouTube damn near, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, yo, like instead of me telling you, I'll just show you. This was me.
Right.
This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Back then, it wasn't realistic to be somebody that was born in the late 80s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If like, niggas wasn't even giving kids that type of talk. It was like, stay in your fucking place as a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't that vibe to where your parents had to explain zero to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cut from that era. Explain myself to who? Get your ass the fuck out of here.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Do you got more money than them now?
My parents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hot for trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work you heard. Making fiends leave earth you heard. Got your baby mama thirst you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to surf you heard.